All right, here in lesson 22, we get our handy dandy fancy little whatchamacallers. No, it's not a whatchamacaller. It's these cool grouping symbols again. We've got those parentheses back. If you remember what that meant before, that meant we had to go in and duplicate whatever it is, however many times it was on the outside. So let's go ahead and work on that first. It says x. It says x. Whoa, doggy, what is going on? I've got something here. Let's just, no. There we go. X. I'm supposed to take away 1. Well, the only way I'm going to take away 1 is to have a 1 and a -1 come in, and then I can take away the 1. So my x minus 1 ended up being this. So I'm just going to copy that instead of going through that whole process again. So there's my x minus 1, x minus 1. It's just written differently because of we had to subtract the x out. Okay, so let's just get rid of that x because it's not going to help it. Now I need 4 stars, or opposites of x's. Might be an easier way to say that. I'm running out of room on my line. This is getting pretty full. There we go. And then we need an x and a -8. Okay, wowzer. Lots of stuff. I got x's and yeah, just lots of stuff. Okay, so there's my setup. Got it done. So now I'm going to clone it so that way I can work with it here. Okay, so now that we're going to work with it, I notice I have an x on both sides. So I'm going to take those off. And I notice that I have an x and a star on the left, so those are zeros. So I'm going to take those off, and I'm left with this new problem. Well, this is a little easier to work with because the 8 is actually a 6 and a 2. Move that out of there. So the 2 and the 1 and the 1 all cancel off, and that gives me that star is a -2. So now if I go back to my original problem, way up at the top, since star is -2, x would be a +2. So I have 2 parentheses 2 minus 1 plus -2, -2. Oh, this is just getting ugly. Plus -2, plus -2, plus -2, plus -2. Had to have 4 of them in there, didn't I? Yes. And on the other side, I've got 2 plus a -8. Okay, so -2, -2, -2, -2 is a -8. Order of operations I got to do inside here, so that's a 1. So I got 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 minus 8 is a -6. On the other side, I got 2 minus and 8, the opposite signs. I'm going to subtract. Give me a 6, but I keep the sign of the 8. That's a -6 and -6. That's what works out. So star is -2, x is 8, and both sides equal -6 when I get that done. So let's see another one of those problems. I've got 2 parentheses 2x minus 4, close that parenthesis, plus the opposite of x equals 2 plus 2 times the opposite of x. So let's go ahead and set that up. I have to have 2 x's, and I'm supposed to subtract 4, so I better bring in the 4 and the opposite of the 4. Okay, now I can subtract the 4. Now I have to have 2 of these setups, so I'm just going to grab that and clone it. So now I have 2 of those, and then I have to have an opposite of x in here. There we go. And then I have to have a 2, and I have to have 2 of these x pawns, or these star pawns, and we have that. So there's our setup to begin with. So I can get rid of that x because we had to get rid of them. Okay, so what do we do with this? We clone them. So that way you can see what I'm doing next. Okay, so now what I'm seeing is I have a star on both sides, so I'm going to eliminate the star from both sides. Okay, so I've got that taken care of. I'm thinking I want to do the 0 thing. So I'm going to take and add an x to both sides. By adding the x to both sides, I'm able to move these two off. Okay? So I move those two off. So now I have this situation right here. So if I bring that down, okay, so now I have these 4s here that I want to deal with. Well, what I could do is I can add a 4 to that side and add a 4 to that side and add a 4 to that one and add a 4 to this one. So now these all cancel off. There we go. Let's see if I can do that. Yep. I'm going to leave those there. You can see what happens. So now, what do I get when I get this all cleaned up? Let me clone it one more time. Slide her down, ascend the page. There we go. Now this time I will take these guys out. So that way they're out of there. You don't see them. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. And these over here are the same as saying I have a positive 10. So we're going to get rid of them too. So if 5x is equals positive 10, x must be a positive 2, and that would mean star, or opposite of x, is negative 2. So let's go back and check this in our problem. I've got 2 times 2 minus 4. I have to have 2 of those, and then I have to add a star, which is a negative 2. And on the other side, I got 2 plus the negative 2 and negative 2. The 2 stars. So there's what I got to work with, to check with. So on this side, let me ungroup that. So just do this grouping here. I ended up with a number I didn't want. Let's see, if I take care of that, this is 0. So I got 2 times 0, which is 0, plus a negative 2 gets me negative 2. So on the left-hand side, we got negative 2. On the right, so we got a negative 4 plus 2, that gives me a negative 2. So on the right, I got negative 2. Negative 2 does equal negative 2. So x is 2 and star is negative 2. So the big thing that we're looking at here is, again, noticing that we have these grouping symbols with that number outside that tells us how many of those we have to have. So when we make sure we work it through, make sure you have multiple copies of that.